Coach Prime looked at his phone, cleared his throat, and again stared out at his players. He talked about how he is intrigued by history but doesn't let it define him, how history can discourage those who see the world through a different prism, how history said a person can't play professional football and baseball at the same time, how history said a person can't score a touchdown in a National Football League game and hit a home run in a Major League Baseball game in the same week, how history said a cornerback would never be one of the NFL's highest paid players, how he never let history stifle his dreams, and how the team should not allow history to stifle theirs. He ended his speech sermon with classic repetition. History intrigues me, but his story compels me. His story compels me. His story compels me. Your story compels me. His story compels me. His story compels me. Coach Prime didn't specify what Amari's story compelled him to do or to feel, but he didn't need to. The events around Amari's roommate had shaken the whole team and was simply the latest compelling story among a roster of players full of them. Coach Prime could have been talking about Hayden Hagler, who had siblings die in 3 separate incidents. He could have been talking about Quay Davis, who experienced the death of a child and fathered 4 children before graduating high school. Maybe he was talking about Charlie Goodell, the NFL commissioner's nephew who has narcolepsy. Or Matt Vitale, who battles Crohn's disease and spent several months in the hospital after a perforated bowel led to an infection and resulted in several inches of his small intestine being removed. Or Jeremiah Brown, who was homeless for a year and a half. Perhaps he was talking about Gerente Davis, whose father was murdered before he knew him. Or Trayvon Riggins, whose dad died from complications from a stroke. Or Kirk Ford, who's allergic to pretty much everything you can name and spent much of his childhood in the hospital for a variety of ailments. Coach Prime could have literally been talking about 30 or 40 other players who overcame their circumstances to become part of the Jackson State football team that appeared on ABC's Good Morning America and ESPN's College Game Day in the midst of their quest for perfection. Coach Prime, of course, was dealing with his own story of triumph and tragedy. The Pro Football Hall of Fame cornerback nearly died in 2021, his second season at Jackson State, because of blood clots. Complications led to a hospital stay of nearly a month in the ICU. He missed 3 games, and he endured 9 surgeries and the loss of the first 2 toes on his left foot. Now, though, he needed to keep his players focused so that they could finish strong. They had seen and heard the rumors about Coach Prime's future at Jackson State on SportsCenter and social media all week. Friends and family called and texted nonstop with questions. I had my phone on Do Not Disturb for 4 days, offensive coordinator Brett Bartoloni said. Grad assistant Brandon Morton said that when word that Coach Prime was headed to Colorado leaked the night before the SWAC championship, it worried him. As a young kid, that's going to affect you, especially a dude like Prime, he said. A lot of these kids came to play for Prime. That's the only reason they came down here. Before the SWAC championship, there was this elephant in the room. Still, Morton was optimistic about the Tigers winning. They had beaten Southern University 35-0 a month earlier, and he believed they would win as long as they didn't implode. After all, JSU had the nation's #1 defense, allowing only 11.1 points and 255.9 yards per game. Their offense, averaging 37.8 points per game, had only 6 scoreless quarters all season. Quarterback Shedeur Sanders was the SWAC's Offensive Player of the Year. Linebacker Aubrey Miller Jr. was the Defensive Player of the Year, and receiver Kevin Coleman Jr. was the Newcomer of the Year. JSU had everything it needed to dominate, which had been its mission all season. Coach Prime had established a culture of work and discipline, and a disgust for mediocrity and complacency. Now, it was time to see if the players truly embraced.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.